Are we ready? Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Oakdale City Council regular meeting on February 9th, 2021. Sue, would you take a roll, please?
Councilmember Reimbursements.
Here.
Councilmember Olson.
Here.
Councilmember Spudler.
Here.
Councilmember Zabel.
Here.
Mayor Waive.
Here. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I just want to ask the people who are joining us through Zoom or want to go and get the instructions on how to do that through our website. You click on, and then Alyssa McLeod, our communication specialist, will acknowledge your attendance. So now, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on our agenda tonight, we're the approval of two sets of meeting minutes. First one from a workshop on November 10th, the council workshop, and then the second one on a special workshop from January 7th, 2021. Let's take that first one from November 10, 2020. Upon review, did any councilor have any questions or corrections? Could I have a motion then, please?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved as presented. The second one comes then from the special workshop that was done with the council on January 7th, 2021. Upon review, were there any corrections or comments? Could I have a motion then, please?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved also. Next up tonight is a chance for conversation during open forum. This is a chance to where anybody that might be watching on Zoom can participate and again communicate with Alyssa McLeod, and we'll recognize you and you can join in. While that's happening, I'm going to read a proclamation though for Arbor Day. And it reads, the State of Minnesota City of Oakdale Proclamation. Whereas the Oakdale City Council supports the planting of trees and encourages residents to landscape their properties with trees. And whereas in 1975, resident Peter Grasky was instrumental in establishing the city's first Arbor Day tree giveaway. And whereas 2021 marks the 46th anniversary of Oakdale's Arbor Day celebration. And whereas because of the annual tree giveaway, a greater number of trees now grow in Oakdale than ever before. And whereas Arbor Day is a time to appreciate the important contributions made by trees and to continue to increase their numbers in our community. And whereas this year's Arbor Day event will be held on Saturday, May 1st at 9 a.m. Walton Park. Therefore, I, Paul Reinke, Mayor of Oakdale, Minnesota, hereby proclaim May 1st as Peter Grasky Arbor Day in the city of Oakdale and call upon the residents of the community to plant trees for the enjoyment and health of our generation and of generations to come. In witness thereof, I have hereby set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Oakdale to be affixed on this 9th day of February, 2021.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And of course, that event will be handled socially distanced.
Distance?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Handled well. It'll be handled well. But it'll be really good to do that again. Okay, next up on the agenda is the consensus motions. In our packet was A through E. Did any counselor want to remove any of the consensus motions? I have a motion then, please.
Make a motion to waive reading and approve consensus motion items A through E as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those consensus motions are approved as presented. Thank you. Next up is the advisory boards and commissions. And we have one set of meeting minutes from the Economic Development Commission from November 6th. This can't be right. November 6th,
It is.
2019,
The last meeting, I believe, prior to this.
2019. Wow. So here we
Didn't
are.
have anything in 2020?
No, they never
I
met.
don't think so.
Oh,
So here they are upon review. Were there any questions or comments that you would like to make? I'm just going to acknowledge that we've received them.
Mhm.
Next up is the time with the Public Works Director, City Engineer, Mr. Brian Bachmeyer. Brian, are you live? Yeah, I just saw you.
I just texted them.
Counselors, if you're okay, can I go on to the next one? And we can come back to that one.
sure.
Does anybody have any questions on it, or can we just go ahead and approve it?
That's a good question.
Seems pretty straightforward.
We had the information in
Yeah,
our
we have
packet.
the
And
information,
the issue is around the request from the Municipal State Aid
right.
Fund to be advanced for the city project 2017-02. That's the Hadley 36 interchange in the amount of $1,100,000.
Yeah.
Counselors, are there any questions? Okay, could I have oh, Brian is here.
There it is.
Good evening, Mr. Bachmeyer. So we were all teed up to approve this thing.
You probably should have come on, Brian.
Yeah,
It was clear right up that you provided us in our packet. Do you want to make any additional overall comments?
Is this in regards to the advance, Mayor?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
yeah,
Yeah, the only comment I would make is, Washington County is preparing to close out the project with Schaefer Contracting, and we just want to be in a position to be able to, final out our share of the project. So that's why we are now requesting the opportunity to advance the funds so that we can, when we do get the final invoices from the Washington County, we will be able to complete our obligations with them. With that, I'd stand for any questions the council may have.
Very good. Thank you, Brian. Council, is there anything for Brian?
No.
Could I have a motion then, please?
I'll make a motion to waive reading and adopt resolution number 2021 requesting 1.1 million from the municipal state aid funds for the city of Oakdale project 2017-02.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any conversation? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion passes as presented. Thank you, Brian.
thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Next up on the docket is time with community development. Mr. Streeter. Good evening.
Evening, Mayor and Council, just a couple of items. For the site plan for Outlot A and B up at Willowbrook, we are now meeting with a developer this week, Continental, and they want to do, I think it's Outlot C, and that's the outlot with 280 townhomes. And so we weren't anticipating that to happen as quick, but they want to start. And so we're going to meet with them Thursday. That's good news.
Bob, where is that again on the plan?
It'd be the lower right-hand side, near 36th North. Yep. So it's all in the southeast corner. And that's where,
where Elbow Cup is gonna come in out ideal.
yes. Yes. Yep. Let's see, what else? A couple things. We're going to be coming back to the council at the next council meeting and ask that you formally terminate your relationship with the development entity for Tanner's Lake. If you recall, the council had a 6-month PDA, and of course COVID happened, but I just don't think they're making the progress I think they could have made in 18 months. And I think it's time to maybe chart a new course or a new path or a new direction with somebody different. So we'll provide some more information and background on that on the I think it's the 23rd. Let me see what else. Well, that's kind of what I have. So if there's any questions, the last thing I'd like to say is we did meet with Mark Landis, he's the new chair of the EDC. And had a discussion with him, and we're gonna do at the next EDC meeting, sort of a state of the city in terms of economic development. So it's gonna be kind of a way to provide a good update for all the EDC members, and maybe go into greater detail than we normally do. So that was Mark's idea, and I think it's a good idea, and we're happy to do it. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Bob. Counselor, is there anything for Bob? Very good. Thank you. Next up on the agenda is time with the city attorney, Mr. Thompson. Good evening. Counselor, is there anything for Jim? Thank you. Then next up is the administrator report. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Thank you. I have 3 items today. The first one is under the consensus motions, you approved the code amendment, pulling this section out.
Yeah.
So we now need to put it in policy. So this is formalizing that into policy, word for word for word. We will come back later with potential edits, but that's what A is. Do you want to take these one at a time?
Yes, please.
So I'd ask for approval of the recommendation to approve that policy PE 031 personnel.
Could I have a motion then, please?
I'll make motion to approve policy PE 031 personnel as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any conversation? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is approved as presented.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the next item on the agenda is for the temporary policy for the COVID leave bank. If you recall, 2 things. If you recall, you did table it to discuss 2 outstanding items. I will bring your attention to the policy that's attached to the agenda. I think there's a typo, we're still checking it. Under the first bullet, at the very bottom of the page, it says that the city administrator may extend the policy. I don't think that's what you approved. I think you said I could stop it earlier.
Right.
So I think that's a typo, so we will fix that. The 2 items I believe you were still discussing is whether you wanted to start the banks over at 80 hours for the term of this policy for each employee versus some of them use some hours and 3 of them use all 80. So then they would have nothing left to use if they had any COVID related illness or emergency. So that was one question. The other one was whether you should approve or change the ending date to maybe March 31st. I don't know that there's still interest in talking about
No,
that.
I think we're good to go for June.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if someone would like to bring it off table and have that discussion, otherwise I don't know that you have to, but that's why I'm bringing it back to you today.
Okay, so in front of us, we could just take the action with an amendment on correcting that word on the first bullet on the second page.
Assuming that was your intent, and I think it was.
Right.
Or if there's conversation desired by a counselor about the particularities in this policy, we can have that too. So let's do the second one first. On your review, do you want to make any adjustments or have any conversation about any of the topics in this policy? Seeing none, I'm going to assume that it's fine as presented. And then the second one is, are you okay with making the word change at the first policy on the second page at the bottom, saying June 30th, this is the expiration date. So this policy shall expire whichever comes first, June 30th, 2021. Parentheses, the date may be terminated
Shortened
or
or
shortened,
Whatever you want to say.
whatever.
may be shortened if needed as determined by the city
Yep.
administrator.
Yep.
Parentheses. Or second bullet is upon the effective date of any new federal enacted COVID-19 leave program. So could I have a motion then, please? Unless there's not, yeah, let's have the motion first. Is there a motion for this adopted?
A motion to accept the policy as written, except for the expiration date and that it could stop earlier if desired.
So there's a motion. Is there a second?
Well, would we want the language to specifically say it could stop earlier at the city administrator's discretion?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't go far enough with it.
Yeah.
Saying the city
Yeah,
administrator.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're
Yep.
correct on it.
Yep, that she has the authority to stop it earlier.
Yep.
Mhm.
Councilmember Swedberg, would you just
Okay.
restate that then for
Okay.
clarity for the people?
Make a motion to accept policy, temporary COVID-19 policy as written, except for the expiration to add a statement that the city administrator can shorten the expiration as she sees fit.
So we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Or Mr. Zabel?
Chris, what happens if an employee is in the middle of their 80 hours and using it when the policy expires? Are they just SOL? Do they get to continue and finish out their 80 hours if they're still in their quarantine period or whatever? How does that work?
So the intent of the policy is that the 80 hours would expire on June 30th. So they'd have to use sick time or some other leave time if it continued, if they were in the middle of an illness and using it.
And would that also apply if you terminated early?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? So there's a motion, there's a second, there's clarification. Move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes as presented and amended on the expiration date. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. The next item is on the cell phone and other reimbursements. We're simplifying that policy and editing it mostly in response to the fact that the IRS requires that fringe benefits be taxed and withholdings withheld. And so we need to clarify that in our policy. In addition, we would like to give the employees a choice once a year whether they would like a reimbursement or they need to submit a receipt and a claim form. And then they would get the full amount that is not taxable up to their limits and all the entire policy, or an allowance. So give the employee an option to choose one or the other if they so choose to do that. So that's the policy before you, and I'd ask for your support and approval.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions? I have one. I think I just heard you say once a year, submit
Yes,
the
it's-
reimbursement.
Once a year, they choose whether they're gonna get allowance for the year or reimbursement for the year.
And
It's
so I
too
think
much
a
paperwork.
35-day period to make sure that we're asking people to be current on their reimbursement requests.
Oh, yes, they have 30 days. Yes.
So is there a motion then, please?
I'll make a motion to adopt policy PE 003, cell phone, telephone, cellular, telephone, and other reimbursements.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes as presented. Thank you. Anything else, Chris?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Lastly, on our agenda is the summary of claim rosters. And in our packet was the claims for January 23, 2021 through February 5, 2021, totaling the amount of $557,589.89. On review, were there any questions or things that you wanted to quote? Do I have a motion then, please?
Make a motion to approve claims as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes as presented. Thank you. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.